Hey, and we're live. What's going on, everyone? My name is Javon LeBlanc.
I'm Grant Fox. How you doing?
We are Chill Tech, and this is episode 2 of the podcast. Now, this episode is a particularly special episode. I'll have to say that this is probably one of my more exciting times of the year, and that's because of MWC.
Yep.
Now, for those of you guys who don't know what MWC is, this is the Mobile World Congress. This is when all the companies come together and throw in all their flagship phones and tablets and things like that, and the press gets a hold of them and it just blows up all over the internet. Grant, how exciting was this MWC for you this year?
Well, I was looking forward towards the Galaxy S6, but you know what? I was disappointed.
Oh, wow.
I was disappointed. I was actually disappointed with two phones. One was the M9 and the Galaxy S6. S6, I was expecting a lot more, like a removable back, which I don't know why they went down that path. The M9, it seemed too similar to the old M8. It didn't really seem like the screen resolution didn't get any better. It was still 1080p. You know, there really wasn't anything new or fancy about it. What do you think? Do you agree with me or disagree?
Hey, man, I feel like you're about to get into some serious stuff, so before I go ahead and give you my agreements or disagreements, let's go ahead and let's start on the S6, because there's actually some things about the S6 that actually I want to talk about. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, the Galaxy S6, this is Samsung's newest flagship phone. This will be the phone that everyone's going to have, I'm sure, with the next upcoming year. It's just as popular as the iPhone in terms of marketing. This is a different phone. We've never seen Samsung make a phone like this, Grant.
Yep, it's more premium than this. No plastic backs, no fake plastic, no fake leather. This is glass on the backside, kind of like the old iPhone 4. Metal chassis around it. They had some improvements with the camera. Let's go over some of these specs over here, Javon.
So let's talk about.
Ooh.
yeah. I mean, spec-wise, like Samsung usually does, they throw everything in the kitchen sink into this phone, and you know we're looking at a 2560 by 1400 resolution on a 5.1-inch display. That's 577 ppi. So in layman's terms, the pixels per inch density is so high that it's, I would say, almost triple that of the Retina resolution. You know, that's ridiculous, and it's actually so crisp that I have to say that it's not even necessary.
Yep. There does become a point when your eyes can't really tell the difference between that tenths of a pixel count. You know, it gets to the point it's kind of like super inflating it over time. Your eyes won't be able to see that many pixels in one square area. In fact, it's really bad on the battery too.
Oh yeah, totally. And that's that's one thing we'll go about. Yes, this is Samsung's, of course. Their displays are beautiful. They have a Super AMOLED display, and this time they're using Gorilla Glass 4. And I heard they use Gorilla Glass 4 in the Note 4. I'm not really sure at all, but
yeah, they did.
You know, for this design with the glass on glass, how important is this Gorilla Glass 4? Like, how is this going to help Samsung not have the same problems as the Nexus 4 and the iPhone 4S and 4 with the glass backs?
Well, honestly, they should have learned from Apple. You saw the iPhone 4, right? It was a glass back, and what happened when he dropped it? The whole thing cracked.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That was.
I gotta tell you, man. I think I've seen during the iPhone 4 era. I think everyone that I've ever seen who had an iPhone at one point has had a broken screen.
Yep.
It sounds so funny, but and it's weird because like not only is it broken, because me, if I have a broken screen, that phone is done. Like I'm getting a new one or I'm throwing it away or whatever. Right. But I'm seeing people using the phone still, man. With like
I know. They have a band-aid
like,
on their fingers
hey,
by the time they're done, you know?
Yeah, right? You know, people are shaving off their fingerprints, you know what I'm saying? but,
hey, but let's talk about this Equinox Octa 8 chip. Oh my gosh. Yo.
Yeah, so this is a kind of a different one from Samsung also. Yeah, usually we see Samsung in the line, they like to throw in their, the Qualcomm's processors. Yeah. But this time, they took a different approach. They're actually using their own in-house bred processor with the Exynos chip, and this is kind of a big deal.
Well, you know why that is, right?
Well, yeah, because when it comes to their processors, their in-house processors, they never really been known to be all that great. But we're hearing rumors saying that this is not only as powerful as a Snapdragon processor, which most of the American-made Samsung phones have before,
Right.
but it's also as energy efficient as a Snapdragon processor.
Right. It was something around 30%. But the thing is, they stopped using
Yeah.
Qualcomms. Well, this is a rumor, but they're rumoring that Qualcomm had overheating issues, and overheating in a phone, we both know is not good. So
yeah. Well, my thing is though, I feel like Samsung took something. They used this as an opportunity to finally use their own chips, because when you say overheating, things overheat in terms of thermal throttling. There is a, if you run games on any phone, if you watch YouTube videos for too long in 1080p, or if you do something that's more demanding on the CPU and GPU, because they're all put into one, your phone's going to get warm. I know the Nexus 9, you do anything but browse the web, and you start getting a little warm on the back by the camera. Right. I know with a lot of phones I have, even with the OnePlus One, the back of the phone gets a little warm if you do something, and that's kind of normal. And I feel like Samsung is taking advantage of the situation to be able to put in their own in-house processing.
That's it.
And this is kind of a big deal also again. Yeah, because that's the same thing that Apple's been doing with their own chips now. And at one point, Samsung was even producing the chips for Apple, and it seems they're going to do that again. So this Exynos chip has a lot of people looking at it, and I expect to get one in-house here so we can review. So I'm actually really excited. I'm actually really excited about this chip.
Not only that, but the processor is now 64-bit. It's now 64-bit. That unlocks a lot of potential to start running some computer apps, or same potential.
Right, they're right. Now the architecture is there for Android. Now that it's running Lollipop, for those of you guys who don't know, that's Android's latest operating system of Android, and of course it's a Samsung phone. It's running TouchWiz on top of that Lollipop. But seeing 64-bit in a phone from Samsung that's mainstream flagship, unlike the Note, because the Note is still kind of a niche market phone, but the S6 is going to be the phone that Best Buy and Sprint and Verizon and everyone's going to be pushing. And being 64-bit, I feel like Android can do more with 64-bit than what Apple's going to do with 64-bit and faster, because of the openness, you're going to start seeing more game applications. And I know, without jumping too much into the future of the rundown, some manufacturers like Nvidia, for example, they're able to put like high-level PC and console quality gaming into these mobile processors because of the 64-bit. So that's actually really exciting. I'm actually looking forward to see what 64-bit can do with Android. Now, like I said before, how Samsung deals with 64-bit with their own in-house Exynos octa-core chip is going to be something that I really want to see, because the track record for Exynos has been pretty bad, to say the least. Yep. So I'm excited to see what they do with this.
Now let's go over to the overall design of the Galaxy S6. Someone that's first seeing it for the first time doesn't know what they're looking at. It looks like a pretty cool phone. Kind of looks like a premium competitor against Apple. You have something that's a glass back, all metal. There's no real. It looks like they didn't cheap out on it. But then you have the drawbacks. Let's go to the 2550 milliamp battery. That's a downgrade. That is a downgrade from what it was last time.
I gotta tell you, the only disappointment with this phone, besides TouchWiz, is the battery. And the reason why I say that is because, yes, I know people say AMOLED displays, you have a black background, you don't really use so much battery. Yes, that is true, right? But when you're pushing a display as crisp and powerful as the resolution that they're pushing in a 5.1-inch display, that 2560 by 1440 resolution, that is killer on any battery.
Yep.
And once those pixels light up, I'm talking about, without going into bashing, because I don't want to bash Samsung, because they don't need to be bashed, in my opinion. They're doing some good things, and I'm happy to see that they're pushing the bar forward. But if they were going to push the bar forward in terms of screen resolution, then they should have bumped that battery up. But they have to be the thinnest phone. I don't know why we're pushing this thinnest phone thing,
Yeah,
but because they're so thin, they're going to sacrifice on battery, and the fact that the battery is also non-removable. For some people, that's a really bigger deal.
Yeah, that was the selling point for
small.
me. Yeah, that's the selling point for me is can I remove this back? Because I actually did some more research. There's some company out there called Zero Lemon. I've never heard about them, but until recently. And what they are is kind of like, imagine an OtterBox case, those big fat cases they have on the iPhones. But this thing has a huge battery built in inside the case, and we're talking like 8,000 to 10,000 milliamp hours. This thing will last you 6 days worth, and it's like $60. And so I was looking up for a Note 4, and I wanted to put one on there. But I was looking at the Galaxy S6, and I was wanting to put one of these cases on there, but you can't do it now. So what are you going to do? That was so dumb. That was so dumb. If you want something without a removable back, go for Apple. I mean, they're known for that. Samsung was different.
Well, the HTC, they're not removable, and so is the Nexus line. So I understand why Samsung is doing this. But the thing is, though, because it's Samsung, I wouldn't expect them to not put in the bigger battery.
Yeah.
If they were going to go non-removable, and that's the only thing that throws me off. But because of that non-removable battery on the I would say, no, because I said I don't want to bash Samsung. I don't want to bash Samsung because
I do. I totally do. I really do at this point. I'm a fan of Samsung, but it's just they got to hear this stuff.
Yeah, they have to know this. And one of the things is definitely it's because of the removable back battery, you're starting to get some cool features. And I want to say one of the plus sides of that, besides, like I said, catching up with the times, is wireless Qi and power mat charging built into one. This is the first phone, I believe, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm sure we'll hear from the viewers, but this is the first phone that I believe that consumers are not going to be able to take their S6 to a Starbucks or go to Amazon and buy a wireless charger and not have to worry about who makes or what standard of wireless charging it is, and are actually able to charge their phone anywhere wirelessly.
Yeah, I like that. I like that, but the thing is, let's think of it more practically. What is so great about wireless charging? Yeah, I mean, sure, it looks really cool. You can place it on the mat, but okay, well, let's say you're texting at night. You got to take that and the charging mat when you would text it and hold it in your hand.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
plugging it in isn't really that big of an inconvenience. It's just one of those selling points, like, oh, we have wireless charging. But in my case, it destroys a lot of the functionality of the phone. I mean, sure, it looks cool, but it's not a big deal to me.
See, yeah, but to me, it is because when I have the Nexus 5, I placed Qi wireless charging mats everywhere. I had one in the kitchen. I had one on my desk here. I had one. No, some people I knew that had one in their cars. I had one on my job. So when I go into work, if I just drop the phone on the charger, I have to worry about it. I don't have to plug anything in. Like when I come to my desk, I don't plug it in my phone all the time, so I just drop my phone on the charger. And it's actually this little thing right here. So putting this little wireless, put a phone on this wireless charging mat allows you to get pretty decent charging speeds, but it's more so the convenience, and also it puts less pressure on the USB port, and some people say it's actually less vigorous on the battery, so you don't overcharge the phone too much, and some of them have technology to even shut off once the battery is fully charged. So, and I'm sure Samsung would include that. Like I said, I could be wrong, but I'm very sure they can include something like that into their device. What else has Samsung? Oh,
it's like with the Galaxy S6 Edge.
Before we touch on the Edge, let's talk about this fingerprint scanner. This fingerprint scanner is probably the first Android fingerprint scanner that's actually good. I haven't touched, like I said, I haven't gotten my hands on hold of it yet. But from the reviews that I've seen from the press and from watching the live keynotes from Samsung, it's actually a click and press instead of the previous one with the S5 and the Note, instead of the swipe down feature.
So excited.
Click and press. Yeah, the click and press is actually really, really good. I use it on the iPhone 6 Plus and on the iPad Air 2, and it works very well. It's one of the features actually I like about it, because I don't really mind putting in a password. I don't mind having a swipe pattern, but I do like having a fingerprint scanner. It gives you like a little bit of an extra feel of security. Maybe not maybe it's not as secure, but it makes you feel secure, and it's convenient enough to just put your finger on it and it unlocks for you. I like that. And Samsung's putting it in their phones. I hope to see other manufacturers put it in their phones too, and it's really cool.
Just being as one of those, I'm going to have to be that guy, of course. But when it comes to the fingerprint, I would never use it. I mean, you've heard of like the whole iCloud leaks and how people can actually steal your credit card just by walking next to you using NFC.
Right.
That happens. But imagine like they encrypt the fingerprints into your phone, but there is ways to get it. So now, if someone steals my fingerprint, shoot, dude. Trouble you're in.
Well, that's more on the extreme side of things. You know, there's a possibility that things won't be that extreme. I say, right?
I mean, I've actually watched this video of people having a laptop right next to them. It was in like some sort of briefcase. They walked up to someone, they stole their credit card information by using NFC. It was compatible. So I'm just saying, it's possible.
Right.
Is it probable?
It is
Maybe
possible.
not.
It is possible.
It's probably not probable, but it is possible. And so why not just be extra cautious? I don't need to unlock my phone with the fingerprint. But that's just me.
Right.
Some people need
it.
Let's go into this. Yeah,
speaking of possible, right? Speaking of the possible, we have a phone with a complete wraparound display. This Galaxy S6 Edge, right? Galaxy S6 Edge. Who comes up with these marketing names? Like, really? I would have fun with the Galaxy Edge, but hey, whatever. But the Galaxy 6 Edge. Wow. Does that phone look good? Does that phone look good? I'm telling you, man, that glass on glass with the wraparound curved display, with the metal trim, and the lightweight, and also a little bit bigger battery to cover that the edge display. It looks great.
Honestly, I was kind of liking the Note Edge, the actual first one that came out with the curved edge on the side of the phone, and just using common sense, I was like, you know what? I bet they're going to release the Galaxy S6 Edge just like the traditional Edge was meant to be on both sides this time. Yeah, but they did. But now it's extremely small in the angle that it's curved at. So it's no longer this giant thing where you can actually just swipe on it. It's more of like just for show. It doesn't have any function anymore. The Edge actually, like on the Note Edge, actually had function. So I mean, it's just kind of there for show now. You know, what's the point?
No, there are a couple features that I know that's special with the Galaxy Note Edge. I think it's the right-hand side of the Edge display. 4 or 5 of your favorite or your most favorite contacts, or frequently called, or however Samsung decides to tell you which 5 are your favorite, they will light up a different color if your phone is face down, depending on who calls you. Is it practical? No. But is it a cool feature? Yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, I would probably use that if I had that phone.
Here's what I'd like to see Samsung do. I know I'm kind of getting off topic here, but keep a traditional flat, then do straight up and down like a 90. Do a 90 degree. Can you imagine having actual hard buttons replaced by touch buttons? And see, that's thinking a little bit outside the box. That's thinking a little bit outside the box. But yeah, I mean, they kind of need to increase the battery on the Edge. I mean, they increased it by, what, 50 more milliamps? You kind of need to do that just because the screen's bigger now. You can't just keep the same thing. Yeah.
What? That makes sense. That makes sense. So enough of this Galaxy S talk, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the in my own words, the other big king of the MWC show. Let's talk about the HTC One M8. So just a quick brush up on the HTC One line. HTC so far has had 3 phones out: the M7, the M8, the M9. All of them look roughly the same, which is good for most. They're aluminum body phones, fully with usually the highest end specs like Samsung does, and they've always had a mediocre camera.
Yep.
This time, HTC decided to give you the same look and feel of a traditional M8 phone, but like with like trim bezel. What was it? Chamfered edges.
Yeah, they chamfered the size.
Yeah, but they're saying that they're going to give you the best photo quality in a phone. Well, what do you think here, Grant? Because you already know where I'm going to go with this, but I want to hear what you think.
It depends. I mean, if they increase the actual lens size and they increase the sensor size, then yeah, they have a point. Because not a lot of phones do that. But if they're just going along the we've got the most pixels, I mean the megapixel race, then no. I mean it becomes a point where that doesn't matter either, you know. So it really just boils down to
and that's where I always thought. Yeah, and that's why I always thought HTC stood out. They weren't going to be like the rest of them and say, hey, this is the megapixel war. But they had this thing called the ultra pixel, started from the M7, which is a wider lens that can absorb more light, so you can take better quality photos in low situations and extremely good photos in pristine conditions.
Yep.
So before I go into this HTC camera, let's talk about the regular specs. So the phone is lighter, it's thinner than the M8. We all know this is going to be the trend of 2015. Lighter, thinner. It kept the same footprint, 5-inch display. They kept something that I really appreciate, and which more companies that do this year. They put a 1080p screen in a phone. God knows how good 1080p screens are. That you don't need this 2K like Samsung does, but a normal 1080p display can just do miles on your battery life alone. But that's the top of the day. They put a 1080p display with 441 ppi. Really good, nonetheless. It's a very crisp, very good-looking display. They put a 20 megapixel camera on the back, and they put their ultra pixel camera from last year onto the front. So ultra pixel camera on the front, regular camera on the back. 20 megapixels on the back, 4 megapixels on the front, but it's a wide 4 megapixels. So yeah. Unlike Samsung, they are going to use the Qualcomm Snapdragon 810 processor with the 8 cores, and people say it's like I said, it's a performer. That chip is a performer. It works really well. It's good on energy. Has some of the best graphics with the Adreno series, which is the Adreno 430, I believe. That one's a 430. It has 3 gigs of RAM like the Samsung. Now this one, I don't think we touched this on the Samsung, but just like the Samsung device, this does come in 32 and 64 gigabytes. Samsung comes in with the stock 128 gigabytes, while HTC decided to keep the expandable storage and allows you to go from 32 and 64 plus the additional of 128 gigabytes added to the battery.
Yep.
And they have a 284 milliamp hour battery.
Jeez, that's a great camera.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be a big? That'd be a different story. Wouldn't that be? I would make headlines. But yeah, they have a 284 milliamp hour battery. So off the bat, we can just say it's safe to assume the HTC One will have good battery life, because I know the M8 was good. So the M9 with a bigger battery should have even better battery life with the same display and a more energy efficient chip.
Right.
There was rumors that we're supposed to see 3 different versions of the M9 or M8 replacement, M9 and M9 Plus. We didn't get those, but we'll keep you guys informed if anything like that does come out. Dude, the HTC One, M9. I don't know where to begin with this. The phone is gorgeous. It looks great. But at the same time, it doesn't scream like, oh, this is the best looking phone that I've ever seen, like the M8 did. Because it's kind of the same phone as the M8. And I feel like, to me, that was kind of a big deal. That was something that I really didn't appreciate that HTC did. So, I don't know how you feel about that, Greg. How do you feel?
Well, honestly, if you're going to have different hardware, make the phone look different as well. But they really didn't introduce any more hardware besides the camera and the processor. But there was no anything else. I mean, there really wasn't anything that makes it seem like, hey, this is a different phone. Let's make it look different, you know? But it just didn't have that. It didn't catch my eye. The screen resolution didn't go up any better. Whether that was good or bad, that's up for debate. But it didn't change nonetheless. Whether it was, what was the front-facing camera again? Wasn't it 4? Okay. What was it last year?
Yeah, last year it was like a 5 megapixel standard.
So did they move down?
Put this time they lowered it down and put their back camera of the M8, which was the 4 megapixel ultra pixel camera.
Right.
And they put that ultra pixel camera on the front. So you're gonna be able to take really good low light shots with the M8 in the front, with your front facing camera, or your selfie cam as they call it.
Well, at least this battery has a little bit higher, more than the Galaxy S6. It's 2,800 instead of 25. You know, so
Yeah.
that's something. That's a good start. But honestly, like that whole rush for thin, I'm not about that. Yeah, I think if you even made the phone just a little bit more thicker, or just so you can have more out of the battery, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, I agree with you totally, man. Like, just make the phone a little bit thicker. This is for all companies. Make your phone a little bit thicker.
Yeah.
And just, we want battery. We want our phones to last us the day. So, the software side of the M8 or the M9, apologize. The M9, it's Sense. Sense is one of the better skinned versions of Android. Some people beg to differ. I had no problem with Sense, but what HTC did with Sense kind of upset me. And actually, I need before I go into this, I need to backtrack on talk about Samsung real quick too, because these are two things that really bother me about the phones that no one's talking about. One thing is Clean Master and Samsung's partnership. So now you're able to, Samsung's calling this a feature to better manage your phone. They're installing a mandatory install of Clean Master. And for those of you guys who don't know, Clean Master is like these registry cleaning, cache cleaning applications that supposedly make your phone faster or helps your phone if it starts to get slower. I call it scamware, adware, malware. All right, because what those things are going to do are going to push advertisements and notifications to your phone unwantedly. They're going to make sure your phone runs slower because it's constantly running in the background, and it drains battery faster because it's constantly running in the background. Samsung, come on, man, really? Like you're too big of a company, you're too important of a company, and you're too much of an icon to do something as silly as that. And then
We're not bashing Samsung. We're not bashing Samsung, right?
Yeah, right. We're not bashing Samsung because HTC did the same thing, except theirs is a little bit more different. Theirs is optional, but they now with Sense they have this theme engine that allows you to make your phone look really, really cool. You can customize it more. It's Sense, so it's very fluid and fast. But they added this folder on your home screen, or a few folders. One of them is a contextual-based folder that gives you applications as you need it based on the time of day. So, for example, at 8:30 every day, you listen to a podcast, or this podcast, Spreaker app, or Stitcher, or whoever podcast app you use to listen to will be there at 8:30. Now, let's say every day at 8:35, you pull up the Bible and you read the Bible, you read the Bible, or you read the news or something like that. That particular app every Wednesday will now come up at 8:35. Now, it may not come up every, you may train yourself for like a month or two, but it starts to recognize you and learn off you. It's contextually aware. So it's based off of time, based off of GPS location, things like that. So it gives you apps as you need it, so you don't have to dig for it. That's a cool feature. The ladder to that is the HTC Recommends app, which, off the first glance, oh my gosh, really HTC? Clean Master was one of the first things that I seen on the recommended app. Why is HTC telling you to install Clean Master? Why is anyone want to install Clean Master? Now, on top of that, is actually to download Greenify and download RAM Cleaner, PC Cleanup, and CC Cleaner. Really? This is you're gonna make your customers have more of a headache with this recommended app, and this be a feature to automatically turn this off. And I feel like the first things people should do, if you work in the phone industry, if you work at Verizon, work for AT&T, you work for T-Mobile, Sprint, whatever, make sure that you set up your customers who buy an M8 to delete that recommended apps thing. It's not going to work for you. It's going to be a headache. People are going to call you back, to return your phone, figure out why things are slow, why your battery dies every day at 3 p.m. and you unplug your phone at 1 p.m. It's that bad, right? The next thing on Samsung, if you're a phone seller of sorts, then make sure that you disable that or hide the Clean Master app. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to. Most time, if you have a bloatware app, you can disable it. I don't know if you will or will not with Android's Lollipop's new features, but if you are, disable that right away also, though, so you don't get any notifications of that. That's my gripe on the latest Android 5.0 software from Samsung and HTC. Just want to get that out there. Sorry for ranting, guys. That's how I feel. like that. All right.
Hey, you got to tell them what you feel. Because they're going to be making these buying decisions sooner or later.
Exactly. And people got to know. People have to know. This is a big deal. But with MWC, it's not only the big phone companies that make a name for themselves. You know, it's a lot of these small companies, and a lot of these small companies reside in China. And I got to tell you, some of these Chinese manufacturers are making some pretty hot and tempting phones. Grant, have you heard about Alcatel before?
I have not. You're going to have to tell me about this.
So Alcatel is a company that usually makes phones for prepaid carriers like Cricket, maybe some of the big carriers like low-end budget deals, like here's a free phone type of deal. I even seen some phone deals with T-Mobile before. And Walmart has a contract with Alcatel that allows them to push out, you know, cheap Android phones for the masses, right, for your kids, things like that. They don't really break the bank, but they're going to continue. Alcatel is continuing this line of cheap Android phones for cheap phone plans, but they're doing it in a different way. They're giving you quote-unquote premium or high-end phones at an extremely cheap price. But here's a big but. So far, it's only launched in China, but they are expecting an American launch soon. But this is some pretty cool stuff. They launched two huge like price, we'll say not huge price, low price but huge spec phones. And the first phone is the 4.7-inch Alcatel Idol 3. So the sound that I said before, these companies with their naming schemes, really, like I feel like I can name, hire me and I'll do a better job. Like come on now, what's the next phone going to be? The Hoover Dam Eiffel Tower Bridge 3 Plus Ultra. Like, you know, like yeah, like really, and it's like a 2-inch phone. All right, so so the dimensions on this phone, like every other phone in 2015, it's slim, right, and it's lightweight, but it has an interesting 720p resolution, which is, like I said, very respectable. You know, that is quote unquote retina level, so it allows you to not necessarily see the pixels on the screen. If you look closely enough, I'm sure you can find it, but you know, it's a very good display. They threw in a 13 megapixel camera, a 5 megapixel, one take is all I'm doing. One take is all I'm doing. A 5 megapixel front-facing camera, and they threw in a Snapdragon quad-core 410. They threw in a Beast Adreno 306 graphics chip, 1 gigabyte of RAM, 16 gigs of built-in storage, and an additional storage via micro SD for 120 gigabytes. It's running the latest Android 5.0 Lollipop and has a 2,000 milliamp hour battery. This phone retails for. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Finish up.
Yeah, I was gonna say this phone retails for $149.
Is that a contract or no contract?
So that means no contract.
That's awesome.
It's an amazing deal. It's an amazing phone at a great price for $150. So when it links up with the carrier, that phone is automatically going to be free most of the time.
Yeah. So,
and with phones like this, and let's say a $30 Walmart unlimited plan or Cricket plan or whoever, what other prepaid carriers are there? Cricket, Walmart,
Virgin Mobile.
I don't know. T-Mobile's not a prepaid carrier. Well, they're not a, they're not a prepaid carrier.
Okay, yeah.
No, they prepaid carriers. Whoever makes. Gosh, really? Do I not know any other prepaid carriers? I have to know at least one more. Come on, one more. For the fans. Do it for the fans. Do it for the fun. All right. I don't have one. Oh well. All right. So when I think of it, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, that's a crazy price. You know, $150. You know, unlocked. So you can buy this phone and kind of throw it away. And it's decently spec too. You know, and it fits in your hand. 4.7 inches has always been a sweet spot for a lot of people.
You know, this reminds me of a lot of like the premium phones, just minus the steroids. You know, this is like gig of RAM. That's almost all you need. That's almost all you need.
Yeah.
For okay, 2,000 milliamp battery. Okay, that's kind of crappy. I'm not gonna lie there.
It's smallish, but with the screen being 720p,
right,
and and an energy efficient Qualcomm chip, it could last. It could last.
Right. But honestly, this seems pretty cool. Why don't you tell me about the other one?
Right. So the other phone they launched, which was a 5.5-inch phone. This one is their flagship, and this one, like I said, follows the same trend. It's thin and it's light. It's actually a little bit thinner than the 4.7-inch model, but it's still thin and light. Comes with a 5.5-inch display at 700. I'm sorry, at 900 and no. I am tripping today. I am off the wagon. I need to drink some water. Let me drink some water here.
Oh, I see. They have a 5.5 inch screen. That's pretty big. Hold on.
Yeah, 5.5-inch screen at 1080p display. Wow. So this is
bigger than my S3.
Yeah, it's bigger than your S3. It's the same size as the OnePlus. It's the same size as the iPhone 6 Plus, and it's the same size as I believe the Note 3. I think Note 3, 5.5-inch. Note 2.
Yeah, the older notes are reaching towards 6 inches. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And it gives you a 1080p screen at a whopping 401 pixels per inch. So it's very sharp, very good display. Again, they stick with the 13 megapixel camera in the back, 8 megapixel camera in the front, so even sharper image quality in the front of your phone. So selfie cams, and also a wide-angle lens. So
this is really good.
Yeah, it's really good. Has a beefier Snapdragon 615 octa-core chip. That's also 64-bit. This one comes in 32 gigabytes as well of internal storage, and micro SD expansion up to 128 gigabytes of storage. And it has a near 3,000 milliamp hour battery. 2910. It's 2910 exact number, but it's roughly around 3,000 milliamp hour battery, that's huge. It's almost the size of the iPhone 6 Plus, or actually, I think it's bigger than the iPhone 6 Plus, and it's about the same size as the OnePlus One. So that's generally going to give you all-day battery life. It's with some pretty high-end specs. It runs the latest version of Android 5.0, and here's the best part of this phone. It only costs $199 unlocked, and that's like I said, that's going to allow users and buyers, and maybe even on bigger networks. Like you can buy this phone, take it to T-Mobile, buy this phone, take it to AT&T because it's a GSM unlocked phone, and you can spend less money on your bill and have a quality phone. And that's and this is what I've been saying for a lot of people. There are some manufacturers out there besides the big names, besides LG, besides Samsung, besides HTC, who can give you some really good phones at a much cheaper price because it's selling directly from China. Wow, just wow.
What's really significant about this, that some of these specs are all the way up there with Apple or Samsung. I mean, we're talking about a 3,000 milliamp battery. We're talking an 8-core processor. Some of the stuff costs you around $800 with no contract, but we're talking $200 here.
Yeah, $200 on with no contract and free on contract. So yeah, this is definitely, and as I said, and what I like about this is that if the 5.5 inch is too big, you can get the 4.7 if you're not really sacrificing or losing too much. Because the 720p screen does average out for being smaller. So, yeah, Alcatel One Touch Idol 3. You get a thumbs up. Double thumbs up for me.
Yeah, that's actually, I'm glad you told me about this stuff because, I'm due for a new phone and this is looking pretty good, to be honest. $200.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Tell me about this. There's a new phone, ZTE Grand S3. What is this?
That's my baby. I was saving that one for the end, but we can go ahead and close with this.
No, save it the end then.
No. We can go ahead and close it because there's so many phones that came out, and I don't think we're going to have time to touch on every single phone. So let's close off with this phone in the phone segment. ZTE Grand S3. Now, I said before, Chinese manufacturers never really get on the American radar. But ZTE is doing some big things over there in China. And they're actually doing some big things here soon in North America. And the reason why I say that is because they're going to take security identification and security enhancements to phones to a whole other level. But without spoiling too much of it, I'm going over the specs real quick. So the ZTE Grand S, very similarly to the Alcatel Touch 3, or idle touch 3 in terms of specs. It has a 1080p display, 5.5 inch, has a 16 megapixel camera with no optical image stabilization. It has 8 megapixel front facing camera, has the same Snapdragon 615 on board. But this phone has a special feature. Besides having a big old battery, it actually has, well, you know, I don't want to ruin it. Don't want to ruin it yet. Let's go. Keep going down the spec list. So it has a 4.4.4 Android version. So that's KitKat. You guys who don't know, KitKat was last year's, operating system, but they do promise to upgrade to Lollipop fairly soon. But yeah, man, I'm about to. I need a drum roll. Drum roll. I need a drum roll.
Although I'm white, I have no rhythm.
Oh yeah, that was it. I killed it. The ZTE Grand S3, not to be mistaken with the Galaxy S3. The ZTE Grand S3 is the first phone that has a retinal iris scanner built into the phone. So that 8 megapixel camera is actually used for something important. It actually, they say that it's more accurate than fingerprint sensors, and it can actually, if you hold your phone eye level, it can scan both retinals and pupils, and it allows you to go ahead and determine not only the eyes, but the position of your eyebrows, the position of your face, and the top half of your face, and it can unlock the phone based off at a retinal level, based off your iris.
That's really cool.
It's really cool. How practical is it? Not so practical. I mean, you have to consider, if you're in a dark room, if you're in a bar, hold your phone to your face and you're drunk, like,
and you said it reads your eyebrows too, right? What if your eyebrows aren't on fleek? You
yeah, right. But I like to see this from companies. I like to see companies push the bar. I like to see companies try and get themselves to the next level, so where they feel more comfortable launching phones the next year with more outrageous specs and features. And I like this, and I feel like ZTE has something big on their hands here, because even if they don't use this technology for their phone, or, for the next generation, or if it doesn't sell well with the current generation, they can sell this technology to other companies who will take bigger advantage of this. Imagine having a phone that you have to unlock with your fingerprint and your iris. How important are you to have a phone with that, type of security? I'd like to see the person, but just the fact that for someone who is maybe security conscious, or someone who is holding important business documents or pictures or photos or whatever of their company in their phone, that's a huge security bonus right there. And I'd like to see what companies come up with next year, like ZTE, with huge security moments. So, security moments. That's it, security moments. Security innovations. So, I need some water here, and we're going to take a quick commercial break. If you're watching this live, then we're not going anywhere. But but if you are listening to the podcast, hope you enjoyed this commercial, and we'll be back with you in a moment. All right. And we're back. Grant, that was a nice break. What do you think, man? That was a good break. That was a much needed break. I feel like it's been like 1,000 years, but it's a much needed break. So
I can breathe in the water.
Breathe in the water.
Yeah.
So phones aren't the only thing at MWC that launch, huh?
Oh, it seems like you're telling me all. Why don't you tell me all about it?
All right, so check this out.
Oh, as in tablets. Okay, yeah. I'm totally out of this, Javon. Yeah.
Oh,
tablets,
first of all,
phones, gadgets.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. For our viewers out there, listen. This is so not like us. We're so tired today. We're missing two of our podcasters with classicsnoot and Phil. So hey, but life must go on, and you guys must get your show. So we're here to make sure you guys get your show. And but yeah, so get back on track here. We're talking about tablets, and tablets weren't as big this year at MWC as it was for previous generations or previous years, but we still got some pretty good devices this year from the tablet category. and I'm actually kind of excited to see what we may get in the next upcoming months. But so far, a couple big names have released some tablets: Nokia, Samsung, Sony. Well, apologize. Samsung is rumored to launch, but for the official devices, who was it? Jolly and their Sail OS launched one. But we're going to touch on a few, or at least two of them today. And the ones I really want to go over is Sony. Sony was rumored to launch a phone this year. They didn't launch their S4 phone for MWC, but they did launch their S4 tablets. And for people the Z4 tablet. And for people who don't know, Sony, they do a 6-month upgrade cycle. Unlike companies like Google and Apple and Samsung who do yearly cycles, they go every 6 months, get a new device. So just recently we were given the ZTE. I'm sorry. Whoa. The Sony. Yeah.
You Sony. Are tired today.
I am exhausted today. But
would you like me to take this for you?
Huh?
Would you like me to take this for you, or is this your turn?
Go ahead, man. Please take it away, man. Take it away.
Okay. Get some water.
I need some more water, man.
So when he released a Z4 tablet, it's 10.1 inches, has a display of 2560 by 1600, and has a 16 by 9 aspect ratio. Now, Juwan, I don't know what an aspect ratio of 16 by 9 is. You have to tell me this. What is that?
Oh yeah, man, definitely. So a 16 by 9 aspect ratio is pretty much the same size of your TV or most televisions. It's a rectangular shape screen. So that's what it is. Like 4x3 is squared, like the iPads. Most Android tablets come in 16 by 9. So like rectangular is made to look like a TV screen and fit like a TV screen.
That's pretty cool. Now, it also says water and dust resistant. Tell me about the IP57. What on earth is that, Johan?
So the IP dust resistance is, well, IT57 and 67. There's IP57, which is in their latest tablet from last year, and is brought over this year. This allows the phone to be submerged into a foot of water and not be destroyed. This tablet has it's also the first tablet from Sony that have a USB water protected coating that allows them to submerge the tablet and not have to put any flaps to cover it up. It also has a flap on top for the dust resisting for their micro USB. So that allows the tablet to be in more hazardous conditions. Like if someone who works in construction where there's tons of dust, or if you do carpentry and there's tons of sawdust, and those type of small little fine bits get into your devices that can chew up the insides really bad, and if sand or anything that touches the screen, you also scratch the display pretty bad as well. So this is actually allows the tablet to be more ruggedized than before.
It says here it has a Snapdragon 810 64-bit, which I like. I love the 64-bit processors. Octa-core CPU. 430 graphics. Is plastic.
Yeah, so
why would they go with plastic?
You know what? I was thinking the same thing, because this is we haven't seen in a while Sony go with the plastic. Sony's usually been known for their glass and metal builds, like Samsung is recently doing. But they wanted to go, like I said, industrial standard now, thinner and lighter. So in order to be lighter than the iPad and other tablets, you got to use lighter materials, and metal and glass just aren't light materials. So they went with the plastic, and to get that lightness, and they also went with the plastic to give it a thinner look with the display. Also, it does help with the duration of the display being submerged in water and things like that, having the plastic display rather than the metal and the glass. So I understand why they went with the plastic build. It's a little ugly to me. I'm used to Sony being premium when it comes to their materials, but hey, you can't have it all every year. But I mean, it's a really cool. This is a really cool tablet from Sony. It has some cool features. It has PlayStation 4 Play, so you can play PS4 games remotely from your PlayStation 4 and stream it to your tablet and play with your tablet with the controller. So you can have it in your room or your living room, your PS4, and then play from the roof on their commercial. or play in your car or anywhere that's nearby on the same Wi-Fi network with your PS4. And that's pretty cool. That's some cool features if you have the PS4 or if you're invested into the Sony ecosystem. I, for one, am not, but hey, it's pretty cool. And it does run Android 5.0 this time, so Sony launched with the latest version of Android, which is good to see. And it looks to be running very smooth and very, very polished, unlike some Android tablets I've seen that run Lollipop right now. Let's see here. Oh, but I'll tell you this, though. The device from Sony that I wanted to see, that's not the phone, that didn't get released, was there's rumors that were saying that there was going to be a Sony Xperia Pro 12.2 screen with a 4K display. This was supposed to be the big tablet from Sony, a competitor against the Microsoft Surface, the upcoming iPad Pro or whatever they want to call it, and the Samsung Galaxy Note 12.2. This would be a really big tablet from Sony that I was really looking forward to seeing. How Sony could do an implementation of a really big tablet that's meant to be used for business customers. Rumors said they would have had a stylus and had a 4K display. We didn't get that. I'm not saying that we were not going to get it, because it could happen later on down the year with the Sony Z4 phone launch. But I was looking forward to that tablet, man. It would have been really cool. What's next on the tablet list here, Big Grant? What do we have next?
Well, after that, it was the gaming, what impressed and what was disappointing. What was your most impressive thing from the Mobile World Conference, and why? And what was your most disappointing? Javon, I want to hear yours.
You will hear from that. You will hear that from me. Before I go into that, I actually wanted to go into one more device.
Let me hear it.
And that is the Nokia N1. I said earlier that Chinese manufacturers are doing some really great things with their devices, and I gotta tell you, Nokia, not being a Chinese manufacturer, because they are from Finland, but they did allow Foxconn, a Chinese manufacturer, to develop them an Android tablet. And boy, is that thing sweet. Yes, you can get the monkey out of the room now. It does look like an iPad mini. But that's a good thing, because iPads look good. iPhones and iPads, they generally have a good look to it. But this one actually runs Android. How many times have people always said, I want an iPhone that runs Android, or I want an iPad that runs Android? This is it. And not only does it run Android, it runs stock Android.
Cool.
And it's from a quality name like Nokia. The only thing that's not that this thing comes with that's not a Nexus is that it comes with a Z launcher, which is a pretty intuitive way to use your screen. But since it's a launcher, you can always just install the Google Play launcher, and now you have a full-on Nexus device. This is a really, 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 really cool implementation of a tablet, and it's 4:3 aspect ratio, so it's the same size box squared as the iPad. Dude, I want this tablet. I want this tablet, and I want it now. But just like most things from China, we have to wait because it does not come with a North American release date or European release date now. So, but they did say that they will launch to the U.S. soon. When it launches, you best believe I'm the first one ordering one, because it has some top-notch specs like an iPad mini. Like I said, it has the same 7.9-inch Retina display. I have to call it that because it is. That's what it is. It's zero-graph Retina display. It has an Intel Atom quad-core chip, 64-bit, has 3 gigs of RAM, which we all wish the iPad mini actually did have. And it runs, like I said, Android 5.0 Lollipop. But that's not the sweet point. The sweet point is the price. It's actually cheaper. It's cheaper than the current iPad mini 3 and iPad mini 2. It's $249 unlocked. Well, of course it's unlocked because it's a Wi-Fi variant. But still, it's $250 flat.
That's pretty cool.
For the 32 gigabyte version.
And see, that's smart though. That's smart what they did. If you're going to have the same price between Apple, now I got to choose. Well, I know Apple more than I know this one. I'm going to go with the Apple. But now this one's cheaper.
Yeah, and not only is it cheaper, you get more storage, you get better RAM, and in some cases you have a better processor. And what makes it really unique is that it actually uses the same iPad GPU with Intel. So the same Power VR GPU for all those high intensive, iPad games and whatnot. That has that built in, dude. That's really cool. That's super, super cool. And for $250, like, I'm so psyched over the tablet. Because I know my lady's been asking for a tablet to upgrade from my Nexus 7. And I was going to buy the Nexus 9, but I was just like, I want to swallow another $400, like, 'cause I bought it for myself, But $250 was around the same price I spent for the Nexus 7, 32 gigabyte. And, to get that 32 gigabytes extra, and then get all these extra specs, and make it feels like a premium, right? It feels like an upgrade from Nexus 7. That's what we always wanted. We wanted an upgrade from Nexus 7. And I feel like this is definitely it's not a Nexus device, but it's pretty much as good as it's going to get from a stock Android tablet. So, Nokia, triple thumbs in the face.
Oh God, what's the other thumb, Javon?
Yeah. I said 5 thumbs up, eh?
I was wondering where that third thumb was coming from. I was like, oh boy, let's go to the next subject.
Yeah, the next topic is gaming. Phil, but Phil's not here, everyone. So yes, unfortunately, our gaming segment is going to have to be postponed until the next podcast, episode 3, which I promise you guys, if you're in so far and you're this deep, I promise you it'll be much, much better than this. But hey, the show must go on, right? So, Phil will give you the Order 1886 review live on air next week. I promise, guys, it will be good. Trust me, it will be good. All right, so if you're looking forward to that, and if you get to see it today, that'll be there. We also have some more things on gaming, but our quick announcement for gaming for today, since Phil is gone, is going to be that this channel right here, we're posting video games in our channel. We're not going to do only reviews, but we're going to do first impressions. We're going to do walkthrough tutorials, and we're going to generally have fun. So if you like gaming and you like, that sort of stuff, hey, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe here, because this channel will give you that. And from all of us, me, Grant, and if you like Minecraft and Call of Duty, and even like small titles like Lego, Star Wars, and things like that, any type of game you can think about, throw it in the comments. We'll play it. You'll see it. All right. The next point before we go ahead and wrap up to our other part of our podcast is another announcement, and that's going to be movie reviews. Now, a lot of you guys know that here at Chiltech, we don't only talk about technology. We talk about lifestyles, and a lot of it has to do with movies, because we like movies just like you guys like. Just like you guys like movies. Like I said, one take, that's all I'm doing. One take. So, when it comes down to movies, dude, we have live movie coverage, not illegally, but we'll have live movie coverage as well as a review after the movie. So if you want to see a movie without getting any major spoilers, you want to make sure this, or if you see a movie that's maybe on Google Plus or Google Play or iTunes that you want to buy, but you don't want any major spoilers and you want an honest review, stay tuned to this channel and we'll give you movie reviews as well. So, as you were saying, Brent, let's talk about this wrap-up stuff. What was the
most impressive thing from a mobile conference, and why? What did you like best?
That's really tough. I was initially going to say Samsung. I was going to say Samsung was the most impressive company, and because the S6 is just so darn gorgeous. I mean, the S6 is such a sexy. It's like, I don't like Samsung phones. Everyone knows that. I've never been a fan of Samsung phones because of TouchWiz. I will use TouchWiz because of the Samsung Galaxy S6. That phone looks that good, and the camera is that good. But it's not my most impressive. My most impressive thing for MWC this year was the Nokia N1 tablet. Yes, I said it. The Nokia. Really, guys? The Nokia N1 tablet is just wow. It looks like an iPad mini. It smells like an iPad mini. It's not an iPad mini. It runs Android, so it doesn't get any better than that. And it's good. And everything that I've seen from this device, all the hands-on coverage that I've seen, it's fluid. It's fast. Has a great display. Has some of the best internal specs. Has a good screen size. It's portable. Has a huge battery at a 5,050 milliamps.
All right, you have to suck it, you know.
Yeah, you know, N1, you know, it's that good. You know, I love this N1 tablet. I want to buy like 5 of them. I'm serious. I want to buy 5 of them and give them away. Matter of fact, when the Nokia N1 tablet comes to the U.S., you hear this from me first. I'm going to buy 3. 1 for me to review, 1 to give to my lady, and 1 to give to one of you guys watching out there. We will have a giveaway of the Nokia N1 tablet when it comes to the U.S. Only way to get one, you'll figure out later on. But if you're subscribed to the channel, I'll tell you right now that you're on your first way of getting one. And that's the first step to getting one. Subscribe, and later on when it comes to the U.S., you best believe that we will be giving away one. And we actually have a live comment here from Keon from Smart Guys. And if you guys who don't know who Smart Guys is, you guys should check them out on YouTube. Smart Guys with a Z. Smart Guys with a Z. They're awesome. Check out Smart Guys, and they're cool. See that smile? That's genuine. It's a genuine smile. I have really white teeth. God, I look good. All right, now, yeah, but I was saying, you know, yeah, dude, that Nokia N1 tablet is the best. That is the best.
Hold on. How about your most disappointing thing from Mobile World Conference? If you can name one thing, what did you really what was disappointing to you?
I mean, it has to be a loser, right? It has to be a winner, it has to be a loser. I hate to be that guy, but I know people are going to hate me for this. I already know. You already know what I'm going to say. But it's
what was it?
ACC. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
I agree.
I'm sorry, guys.
I agree. It seemed too similar to the M8. Think of it this way. It was like the S4 upgrading the S5. There wasn't any difference. It was like the same thing.
Right. I gotta tell you this. It wasn't anything that I didn't expect. But that wasn't why I'm upset about it. I'm upset because HTC was a company that was extremely innovative in the terms of they didn't do things the same. They wanted things to be different but better. The HTC M9's rear camera takes worse photographs than their front camera that uses the ultra megapixel camera with the wide angle, you know, lens zoom and deeper, you know, better aperture and you know, takes in, you know, way more lights, and it's just a better overall camera. And that's sad when you have a 20 megapixel camera. You know, if you want to see sample photos of it, now granted, this is the big disclaimer. HTC did say that this is not final software for their camera. So can their camera quality be improved? Yes, it will. I believe it will improve, but I don't think it will improve enough to be better than what Samsung or anyone else is doing. But instead of winning with Sony, which a lot of companies do, if you want to win the megapixel race, go with Sony. They didn't go with Sony. They went with Toshiba. Toshiba said, "Hey, we'll give you a 20 megapixel camera," which is, you know, I have not seen anything that's big in optics from Toshiba before. And I'm not expecting anything to change to the point where that's going to change my mind. Sony makes cameras. Sony shoots movies. They do everything with Sony products. Get a Sony sensor in your phone. Why didn't you put a 20 megapixel Sony sensor? It would have been miles better. But no. You went with Toshiba, you went with the small lens, and your 20 megapixel photo takes the worst photographs in low light, and even some daylight shots compared to your front megapixel camera. That's not good. That's not good at all. And I'm someone who uses my phone camera for a lot of things. So no. But you did make some good hardware. And then also the thing with Clean Master, really, HTC, you're not getting this one to go. You cannot recommend apps like Clean Master on your home screen for consumers. You're asking for people from Best Buy Mobile. You're asking for people from Verizon, from AT&T, from T-Mobile, from Sprint to hate you because they're going to be calling back saying, "Hey, my phone has Clean Master installed. My battery lasts like 3 hours now." Like, you know, like, come on. Don't do that. Don't do that. Cut that out. If it's not final software, then I want to see it removed for the final version. If not, I'm not buying the M9. Even if it's a Google Play edition, I'm still not going to buy it. I don't care. I stand by my words. Stand by.
No, I agree. It's spamware. You don't really need it.
So, enough about me, Grant. What do you think? What was something that impressed you? And this
Most
and not
impressive. Most impressive would definitely be the eye scanner. The amount of algorithms and programming and security levels when scanning your eyes and your facial structure, that's really incredible. And that's a low company. Not even I've heard of. It's not one of the big wigs. But most disappointing, you already know, S6.
Oh, really? Oh, really? Yeah.
And the reason I say that, I like Samsung. I like how it used to be different than Apple. You had the removable back, you had the SD card, you had everything that was different about it than Apple. But now they're slowly becoming Apple. It's like they're trying to push premium, but they're trying to push it in such a way that it looks like Apple. Like the Touch ID. It depends. That's up for debate. Me, I wouldn't buy it. The S6 Edge just didn't seem that functional to me. It looks more like a eye catcher. The actual Note Edge, the thing that curved and an extreme edge, that actually you could do stuff with. They actually had it was like multitasking basically. The S6, the glass back, you drop it, bam, it's cracked. You can't take off the battery. What if your phone freezes? You got to wait till the battery dies. That's one of the biggest complaints about iPhone phones. It's just like the software. If your phone freezes up, you got to wait till that phone dies.
Now, some phones do have, if you hold down the power button, it automatically resets even if it freezes.
Yep.
But I know some of them don't have that, so I know what you mean. Yeah, I do know what you mean.
Yeah, but that was my biggest disappointment was the S6. I mean, I've heard there were so many rumors, and you never listen to the rumors online. That's always one of the worst ideas. I mean, even when you Google, if you Google something like medical related, like, my foot is pink, what's wrong? Oh, you have cancer.
Mm-hmm.
The internet will completely discombobulate it. So, I mean, there was tons of rumors that Samsung might use actual flexible displays, not the wraparound stuff. And honestly, the wraparound screen really isn't that great to me anyway. It's different, but everyone wants that screen where you can do this. That's what people want, and not the wraparound stuff. It's cool, but this is where the big money would come in, when they actually make a phone that can be solid, but then you have an actual screen that bends by itself. I would buy 10 of those. One so I can put around each finger, oh my gosh, that'd be so cool. That is the cool stuff, but S6 was total disappointment.
Yeah, man, yeah, definitely. Like I said, I wouldn't say Samsung is a huge disappointment from my perspective, because I use my phone differently than you. But I understand, if coming from a power user like you, that removing things like additional storage, battery.
I mean, I shoot vines all the time. I have to have all that data. I gotta have all that spots for my videos. If I actually ran out when I really needed it, some lady was assaulting me with a car. I was recording it, but then all of a sudden, bam, out of memory. I was like, crap.
Now, would you buy a 128 gigabyte Samsung S6 if you had to buy a Samsung?
No, because the thing is, they jack up the price for something that costs $20 extra. Okay, so take this for example. This is a 16 gigabyte internal storage phone. It ran out of memory. I was like, okay, crap, I need to get another SD card. So I did. It's 32 gigs. In fact, it's much faster. It's I could provide you the link or something, but it's supposed to be faster as in writing and reading speeds, so you can actually save the data faster. And it costs like $20. But then here you go. You have these phone companies like Apple or now Samsung who will charge you. You have the 32 gigabyte version, the 64 gigabyte version, and they'll charge you like $50 more just for that data. You know what I mean? It's not worth it. You can easily buy this for something for $20. And then the same can be said about the battery. If you have a battery issue, you got to go wait in line, pay service fees, or sometimes it's free, depends on where you go. But it could easily be fixed by spending a $10 battery on Amazon. Yeah. So I'm not for not removable backs, and there's plenty of reasons why I think they should keep doing it. In fact, you can go both ways. Why not have a metal removable back? It's something that slides off.
Yeah.
That's what the big deal is. Why not have both? It's like that one girl on the TV who was like, no soft tacos, no hard tacos, and she's like, why not both?
Yeah, right, exactly. Get a cheese, get a crunch. You know what I'm saying? Get it both. But like I said, man, I hear you, man. And it does raise concern that they didn't have another option of the phone, because Samsung is notorious for having like 1,000 versions of the S6.
Yeah.
And now, if they do keep, because I do expect to see at least 2 more versions of the S6 come out. I do think that's going to be less than every other year when it comes to, who is it? I think last year they had the S6 Active, then they had the X5 Active, then they had the S5 something, the X5 Prime, all those stuff. I do feel that we'll see, the Alpha, all that stuff. I do feel like we'll see 2 more versions, and I think one version will include a removable back. I do think so.
I hope
and
so.
I think that's going to be the active version.
Yep.
You're right. I don't think the active version will have them. It may have different types of materials, things like that. So, can Samsung recover from this in terms of their consumer line? No, because no one's going to buy any other version but the S6 in America.
Now, here's something I want to cover on real quick before we end this. The Note 5. This has to have a removable back. This would be one of those best phones in the world if it did. I mean, hands down.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of anything else better.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. The Note 5 is probably everyone who's not buying the S6, who's a Samsung fan, is that's probably the most anticipated phone for this year. Because seeing what they did design-wise with the S6, it makes you wonder, what are they going to do with the Note line? Well, the Note line usually gets the first design remake first, usually. I know last year they had the metal trim before the the S6 now. Correct. So are we going to see a full metal phone from the Note line? Is that something we're going to see?
I don't know, but the thing is, if they don't have a removable back, man, I'm going with the Note 4. I mean, you got to have this. It's one of those things where Samsung grew a huge popularity from people that had removable backs because it was so different than Apple, you know? That's me. That's definitely me. You got to have it.
So let's go ahead and check out some user comments here on the podcast. So let's start off. So we have one of our friends from the Smart Guys podcast, and he has some quite choice words for us today. So his first comment is actually Boo Samsung. Boo Samsung. He like myself, he's a fan of the Nexus program. So thanks, Keon. We appreciate that. And yeah, I agree with Boo Samsung. Boo Samsung without actually going the S6, because I actually like the S6 a little bit. He said, remember with the Nokia, Nexus equals timely updates. And that's actually something I really forgot. I forgot for a moment that Nexus gives you the quickest updates. You know, I still have a OnePlus One running KitKat. So yeah, I as my daily driver at least. But yeah, that is a good point. You know, for someone who doesn't want timely updates, none of these phones that were announced today or tablets will give you the latest version of Android as soon as it comes out. Now I know companies are getting better with that, like Motorola and HTC for one, but you know, that's something you really want to consider, you know, while you're operating your devices. Do you want a device with the latest, greatest software all the time? Yeah, that's something you might want to get. He said that he hates me for bashing ACC, and I'll bash ACC again. ACC M9 was a disappointment. They also talked about some wearables that we didn't touch this week, but we'll touch the wearables over next week. There were wearables that came out from MWC, and that will be mentioned the next week because we want to talk about wearables and gaming VR at the same time.
That's something I would really look forward to is the VR and the Note 5. Oof.
Oh, yeah. Dude, we have so much to talk about when it comes to gaming. I'm so glad to have everyone on board for that one. That's going to be a big one to talk about. Let's see here. Talking about the phone freezer. He said removable backplate isn't that big of an issue when you to remove battery because all phones have a combustion button, a combination button. Apologize, I read that so wrong.
Combustion. I'm like, oh my gosh.
It blows up. Your phone just blows up. No, it has a combination button that does allow your phone to hard shut down if you hold down the power button. So I guess that's something that that many people who maybe in terms of battery users who phone crashes or freezes up may not have to worry about. But I'll tell you this though. One for me is battery longevity. You know, batteries. If you are someone who uses your phone for more than 2 years, I'm not. But if you are someone who uses your phone for more than 2 years, then your battery will chances your battery will stop holding a quality charge after a year and a half. So,
this thing will die in half of it, you know. So
yeah. So he has 99 questions. Sorry, 99 problems. I messed this up. I'm so tired today. I'm so tired.
You
I'm so
you
tired.
messed up the punchline,
99
bro.
problems. Yeah, man. 95 problems, but storage ain't one. Anyone who needs...
He's going to bring up the cloud again, I know it.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone who needs additional storage needs the cloud. You know what? And I agree with him. I agree with him. Because I'm someone who has a terabyte of Google storage. And so I never have to worry about switching devices and plugging out SD cards and plugging into my computer, all that stuff. If I need it, I have fast internet, and I have Google Drive.
What if you don't have internet?
That's all you need.
What if you don't have internet? That's my thing.
I have 4G, unlimited.
I've run into spots where I'm filming Vines that I don't have internet. I've got a terabyte. I don't know. I have 2 terabytes of information on my computer at home. It's irrelevant. And besides, you've seen what
then you download Google Drive for your laptop and you carry that with you.
No, you see what happened. You've seen what happened with all the celebrity nude leaks. I mean, that was just Apple. I mean, it's definitely possible. I'm not saying I've stored nudes, but I'm saying like I won't want my stuff getting out there. I don't need my stuff out there. I can easily carry around an SD card. I'm just one of those old-fashioned guys. Now, storing the data on the cloud, yeah, you can do it, but that's not me. I wouldn't want to do that.
So let's see. Anything else we have here? The Galaxy S5 Sport, not the active. So I was wrong. The Sport was their active version. So the Galaxy S5 Sport, and he said the Galaxy S5 Alpha is not an S5 variant, even though some may say that it kind of was, but it's kind of not. I think that's S5 Alpha, or the Galaxy Alpha was Samsung's late approach to try and tackle the iPhone 5 in terms of sales, which didn't work. So his iPhone 6 sold like crazy. So yeah, man, that seems like a special MWC podcast to me. It was definitely special. I was special today. I think I was super special today. I think I think I need a nap. What you, Grant?
Oh man, I've been done when we started.
Oh man, and for Phil and Matt, who unfortunately cannot join us today, you will see them soon, very soon, very 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 soon, like next week's podcast. So stay tuned for that. We'll try and make sure that we're more accurate on times. And like I said, guys, this is episode 2 of the Chill Tech podcast. We are so sorry that today was a little sloppy, but hey, we got you the MWC coverage before the week was up, like we promised. And at the same time, we want you guys know that we will get better as time goes on. Give us time, and we will be the most premium Samsung quality podcast that you can ever wish to have.
It's gonna be a pain in the glass, though.
Yeah, right. Just don't drop us. We'll crack on both sides. So,
you be OD sometimes. I swear to God.
I do OD. Look at me. I'm wearing a Google Plus shirt. And speaking of Google Plus shirt, Grant, people heard that you make Vines. Where can they find you for those Vines?
Grant the Fox.
At Grant the Fox, or just Grant the Fox?
That's my Twitter. It's my Instagram. It's my Vine. It's my YouTube. That's everything. Grant the Fox.
Great, guys. If you want to see Grant's, go ahead and check him out.
In fact, I'm
in the link below.
Yep, I'm about to hit 1 million loops overall.
You guys about to hit 1 million loops overall. So if you want to get on the action and be that millionth loop, go ahead and check out Grant the Fox on Vine, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. Me, for one, I'm not one of those cool kids who has 1,000 different social media. You can find me at Javon LeBlanc on Google Plus. The one and only social media that I'm forced to use because I have Google services. So you can find me here on Google Plus. Not Instagram, not Twitter, not whatever, Black Planet, not MySpace, okay? You can find me on Google Plus, Javon LeBlanc. This was episode 2 of the MWC Special Live Podcast. I'm Javon LeBlanc, and that is Grant Bondurant, and we are signing off.
All right.
Have a great rest of the day.
See you guys.
Thanks.